PGA podcast, Fore Thoughts, my Fore Thoughts on this week's event, the Northern Trust at Liberty National. Welcome back to another DFS Army PGA podcast. My Fore Thoughts. Again, in this podcast, I give you my four early in the week thoughts on GPP construction, lineups, everything about that week's event. And this week, we are at the first week of the FedEx Cup playoffs. We have the Northern Trust. We are at Liberty National Golf Club, just outside of New York City. That's why we got this picture here. Great views. The players have not had great things to say about this course when given the ability to be anonymous. But it's a fun week, and I am looking forward to the FedEx Cup, right? Again, if you are not a DFS Army VIP, please join us. If you get in now, you are going to be able to be in for NFL, right? For that first week of NFL. So you are missing out. The preseason content has been outstanding. And we've just been keep on rolling along in PGA. Last week, though, my goodness, what a week. It was maybe the lowest 6-6 percentage that I remember in my time. We were seeing lineups with 4 of 6, 3 of 6, getting big cashes. So it was a funky week at the Wyndham, but we're back to a fairly what I would assume is going to be a fairly normal week. Top 125 players on to 124. Louis Oosthuizen has withdrawn and not going to play this week. But it's a really, really strong week. The pricing's interesting, and it's a different course. I don't want to say it's a fun course. This is Liberty National is a course that was designed by Bob Cupp and Tom Kite, and they describe it as American links, meaning that it plays similar to a link style golf course. It's not really, but it's what they refer to as American links. They built this on the site of an old dump ground outside of New York City, but the views are fantastic, and it's an interesting test. It's a par 71, 74.10 is the yardage. It won't play anywhere near that. This is going to play more towards 7,200 probably. They have done some renovations since we last saw this year, so if you guys are not familiar with the FedEx Cup playoffs, especially with the Northern Trust, at the beginning of the playoffs, this changes venues every single year. So we haven't played at Liberty National since 2019. We played here 2019, 2013, and 2009. There's also a President's Cup that was played here. Like I said, it's an interesting course. Greens, bent grass, which we were on Bermuda for a little while. There were pretty much bent grass. Tee to green, rough is bluegrass. There is, because it plays as a linksy style. There's a first cut that's called they call it the low mo, 1.25 inch, and then the secondary cut is going to be 3 inches. There's lots of fescue. Really the key here is you can flight your ball. If it's going to be windy, that could be a problem, but really the key here is kind of similar to last week at the Wyndham. You put yourself in the fairway, you hit greens, you're going to be in good shape. 98 sand bunkers, lots and lots of bunkers. They've actually changed some of the bunkering a little bit. At least they've moved some fairway bunkers. They've changed some up by the greens. Not going to be a huge deal, but worth noting. There's 13 water hazards, and water is in play on 12 holes. So you can see some big numbers here. The type of golfer, we've had a Patrick Reed win here. We've had an Adam Scott. Heath Slocum, for name drop from 2009 back in the past. But, John Rahm contended here. We've seen kind of an eclectic leaderboard in terms of countries, right? So it's not just Americans. And it's that leads me to think that we need to really consider some Euros, some South Africans, guys like that this week that maybe we wouldn't always be interested in. So, Fore thought number one, this is the best field of the year outside of the majors, right? We got 125 or 124 of the best golfers in the world. And 6 of 6 is going to matter more than ever. So at 125, we are cutting that down to 65. Typically, a full field event like last week at the Wyndham, you're dealing with 156 golfers, right? So 156 down to 65 in ties. So even more so this week, you are going to need 6 of 6 to cash. It's likely that we're going to see that number. Last week was like 1 or 2%. I don't see that this week. I think that we'll see it bump up towards, 15, 16% to the point where you're going to have a really, really good 5 of 6 to even be able to cash in some of these GPP contests. All right. And I really think that the area that is going to make the biggest difference this week for you in your roster construction is your sub 7K. You're going to want to fire in some stubs in that 8, 9, 10K range. And, this sub 7K range is where you are going to make your hay, right? For lack of a better term. Guys like I think that this is a good course fit for like a Lee Westwood. I really like Charlie Hoffman coming in here, maybe a little bit unheralded. Seamus Power rates out really well for me this week. Carlos Ortiz, ball striker, rates out well. You get some overpriced guys. You gotta avoid the landmines down here. Roger Sloane played great at the Wyndham last week. He typically does play great at the Wyndham. I'm not sure that this is the right setup for him this week. So again, 6-6 is going to matter more than ever, and you really need to hammer your 7K picks, right? And for me, and our DFS Army VIPs, I'm going to cover it all in our cheat sheets. DFS Army VIP, then you're just clicking names. You're just guessing, right? Use that code up north. That gets you 10% off of VIP membership for life, right? So Fore Thought number 2, like I said, just a few minutes ago, American Links. This was the results from 2019. We got Patrick Reed winning, shot all 4 under 60. Abe Answer, really strong tee to green performance. John Rahm. Harold Varner had a really, really strong tee to green performance. Again, you look at these guys, ball striker, ball striker, ball striker, ball striker, and then you get a couple of guys in here who have the short game. All right, Jordan Spieth, Ian Poulter. So really, when looking back at stats of how guys have performed at Liberty National over the years, you have to be an elite ball striker, or you have to be really, really good around the greens and with your putter. All right. And if you can do both things well, like Patrick Reed, like an Abe Answer, like a John Rahm, you're in good shape. Again, Adam Scott, winner here in 2013. Guy played really, really well last week. He's a name that I'm very, very interested in. But again, an eclectic leaderboard. Only a couple Americans at the top there. I'm not saying that you should fade the Americans, but don't be. I feel like sometimes we're afraid to play guys that don't necessarily have that flag next to them. So Fore Thought number 3, you don't have to make a ton of birdies here. If we go back, we can see. Let me go back. Yeah. We can see that the scores, par 71, we're not dealing with a crazy, crazy low winning score here. Actually, 2019 was one of the lower scores, to 16 under for Reed, but you don't need a ton of birdies this week. But what you need to do is you need to avoid bogeys. There are big, big numbers out there. So especially if you find the water, you put yourself in a bad position off the tee, you are going to be in trouble. So leaders and bogey avoidance over the last 6 events, we got Cantlay, Morikawa, Berger, Cam Tringali, who I'm very, very interested in at 7,300. And again, like I said a minute ago, Seamus Power. This is a course that Seamus should really contend at. And coming off of, a win, didn't play well in his return. So we're going to deal with maybe a lower owned Seamus Power at 7K, and he rates out really well for me this week. And the one interesting stat that I've really came across when looking at this event is that par 4 scoring is more important than par 5. It just, you look at how guys at the top of the leaderboard performed, and Reed, Answer, even Rahm, who's a great par 5 player, they crushed those par 5s. And in particular, they crushed the medium par 4s, or not par 5s, par 4s. They smashed those medium par 4s, right? And that at a par 71, when you're going to deal with, I think, 5 or 6 of these, that's what you need to be looking at. So Rory, obviously one of the best medium par 4 scorers in the field. Colin Morikawa. I think guys are going to be afraid to go to Morikawa after a tough performance 2 weeks ago at the WGC. Brandon Grace, great history here, playing well. Chris Kirk, ball striker. And then a Brendan Todd, who just was fantastic at the Wyndham. I think this is a great course for him. I think he's going to, find greens or find fairways, find greens. He played really, really well at the Wyndham. He didn't even putt that well. So I think a return to bent grass is going to help Brendan Todd this week. And getting those guys, some cheaper studs will allow you to get up and play guys like Morikawa, Rory McIlroy. Hell, you could play all 5 of these guys, and then I think you have what? You probably have like 8,000 left for your 4th guy in your, or maybe 7,500 left for the last guy in your roster. So, playing guys who crush medium par 4s is going to be key this week. That's what I got, right? This is a short form, 9 minutes, get you in, get you out, give you some ideas, get you going. And I really want you to start thinking about, hey, how can I take my game to the next level? And the best way that I think that you can do that is by joining DFS Army. We have weekly, monthly, and where all you get is PGA, right? And it's cheap, $9.99 a week. You're playing 10 times that every week. But what you really want to do is get that DFS Army VIP. Try it out for a week. This week, we got, you sign up today, you're going to get baseball. You're going to get NFL preseason. You're going to get PGA, right? So all this stuff is coming up. Try us out, even if just for a week. Use that code up north. That gets you 10% off for life. And you know what? I can guarantee you that you will not regret it. So again, I'm looking forward to a great week at Liberty National. It's going to be fun. We have, lots of content up. I'll have my cheat sheets up tomorrow. We'll be in the Discord, chatting it up, talking about what we think are the good plays this week. All right. Cheers, guys. Have a great week.